bit more of a scripture?
I think sadly, we care for each other, they care for us.
See, this is what I think. I think you
Go on.
no, you can't really explain morality without God, can you?
Yeah, you can.
So she would say you
I
can.
think you can.
I think
Is
you
it like
can't.
subjective morality that you subscribing
But I
to?
think everything's
See,
like relative.
If nobody,
Yeah.
if God didn't create anything,
Yeah.
then humans created morality, didn't they?
Yes.
Yes, that's what I think.
So it comes from us.
Where would you say morality comes from?
Just from humans, we have this sense of like altruism that we've evolved
Yeah.
from. Yeah.
But wouldn't that mean that morality would always be subjective? So what is right for you might be wrong for him, or
Exactly.
vice
And
versa.
This is a problem. So
that
eventually you have to
doesn't-
get to this objective morality that
That
pleases
doesn't show that
everyone.
it's wrong. It just shows that it might be upsetting.
No, if it's contradictory, then we know that both cannot be right. See what I mean?
Yeah. So,
So
there's
it
no
is.
absolute morality.
So you don't believe there is objective morality?
No.
You don't think so?
I think what it is, I think it's like we all have different interests. Okay, it's like I'm a woman, you're a man, we have different interests. We like different religions, so we have different interests. So eventually we just have to come to this agreement
Yeah.
that we respect each other.
Yeah, but that's a selfish subjective, isn't it?
Exactly. No,
So
but it is.
we
Yeah.
just to I'm trying to understand like, how would you get around this subjectivity? You know, where there will always be conflict of interest.
Yes,
There would be
yeah.
bias. There would be some other, maybe because of the culture or the tradition you live in, your morals would differ from someone. Say, for example, somebody living in India. Yes, in order for them to enter the home, they will have to remove their shoes or something. Yeah. But if somebody from another culture enters their home with shoes, because that is how they are being indoctrinated, even without realizing they're offending someone. You see what I mean? Even though they didn't intend to, it's because they live it. So that's why I'm trying to get around that. The reason we believe that that morality can be objective only if it comes from God. Only if it comes from someone who is a higher being. Because then there wouldn't be this bias, there wouldn't be conflict of interest, there wouldn't be any of that. Say again?
It doesn't prove anything. Just because you think it would be right or nice, if that were the case, it doesn't prove that that's the case, does it?
No, I'm saying because to get around this problem of morality being subjective, and then like you're right or you're wrong on the same morality, then we'll always have that problem with humans, isn't it?
No, but why can't you just like have like this peer thing where you say, okay, that person doesn't take their shoes off, I take my shoes off.
It's just an example I gave.
So, no, but what
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
saying is why can't you just understand? Oh, and you think it's funny, you just understand it. So it doesn't matter if people do things
No,
differently.
you know why?
It
Look,
doesn't matter.
if it's just something that you keep inside within you, then that's different. But because we live in a real world, we have to, live with other people, with other cultures, with other traditions. You cannot keep suppressing that all the time. For example, 100 years from today, the LGBTQ community wouldn't exist, at least not openly. See what I mean? But today the reason is because the law has been implemented to allow them to not be discriminated openly like it used to happen 100 years ago. The same government used to lock them up, used to even hang them.
Yeah, so it's like
depending on.
relative morality.
Yeah, so it's always changing.
But the thing is that you have to put it on this basis that you can do whatever you like as long as it doesn't harm someone else.
If you don't harm someone else, how? Like for example,
So,
today
like,
in this community.
homosexuality harms nobody.
Yeah, but when you say harm, for example, offending someone is also harm.
Is it though?
Yeah, it is. Because if you feel offended when somebody tells you something about your ideology or your belief,
Yeah.
that's the
As long as
thing.
you don't harm
You see, that's the thing. For some people, offending someone is wrong.
But why?
Or even challenging them.
Okay, I'll tell you what. If
wrong. No,
sorry,
this
is she your
what I
mom?
think.
She's your mom?
Oh yeah.
Okay. If someone offends your mom, would you not get hurt?
Yes. Yeah,
Do I have the right to offend you
Yeah.
at the expense of this?
No, I think.
As long as I don't hurt someone physically,
I
it's
think
okay.
in a
You
society,
see, it doesn't work.
You should be allowed to offend people.
No, it shouldn't be. I don't think so. People
society,
people
you
should
should-
know where the boundaries are.
When you're interacting with someone, you should generally be a polite person. You should be nice to people, but you should be allowed.
How can you be nice when you offend someone?
to offend someone?
It's
Someone
contradictory.
offends your mother or vice versa.
No, it's
someone
contradictory. You
offends
can't be nice to someone if you're offending them.
Yeah, but I wouldn't want him to be anyone else. Okay, so at the moment you probably have ideas about me maybe like you have ideas about women, okay, maybe you do, but you're polite, so you wouldn't say it to him. And that's what I mean, it's like there's this politeness in society that you have certain opinions, but you keep them to yourself.
Yeah, that I would agree with, but
Yeah,
your
so
son
that's-
said you should have the right to offend.
Yeah, but
That is what I was
doesn't mean
objecting
he should
to.
be offensive. No, but that's because he's being like concession to the other side.
No, he's actually right, because in this community, you have the right to offend.
Exactly. You
Exactly. So you won't be arrested if you offend someone.
Yeah,
Okay.
you shouldn't.
However, there are certain people you can't offend, like the LGBT community. If you offend them, you can get arrested.
You
Or,
shouldn't be allowed to be arrested.
well, that's what I'm saying. It depends on the government. They make selective rules, okay, based on which community you're
But
in.
we don't agree with our
Yeah.
government.
Just coming back to the, because you guys don't believe in God.
No.
What evidence will convince you, or
Like maybe if God spoke to me or gave me some sign.
Sorry. Rehan, can you just move the camera this way?
You guys were mainly saying, why should morality be dictated by a God, not man? Is that what your general?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Why can't humans decide for it? But what we see,
Yeah.
you can add to it. What we see today then is everyone's become their own God.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
true. Yeah.
Everyone's become their own God, and
sad,
therefore
right?
every individual God
Yeah.
has decided that I will do A, B, C, D, E. Whether it upsets somebody or not, I'm my own God, and I will do this. And if it
Yes,
offends
yeah.
somebody, it's their problem. It's not my
No,
problem.
and I agree with you.
And
It's
therefore,
so
that
sad.
subjectiveness means that we are causing a lot of harm. And we've got to bear in mind that our intellect and our health is limited. So our understanding of what is good for us, never mind him or you or the tree or the dogs or the cats, is limited. We think we're gods, we think we know everything, we think we're very smart. We hide behind the shield of science and say science says a lot of things and therefore we do this. But we're not, we're just man. It only takes one stroke for you to lose your faculties. And suddenly you're not able to decide what's right or wrong for you.
And I agree with you.
And therefore we say
I agree.
we hand over that ability, that power of dictating what's moral for me and everybody who knows more than me, who's more stronger than me, who's more powerful than me, who's never
created
gonna
us.
die, who knows how he created it and everything like that, to a being that is able to do it in such a way that's never gonna harm anybody and everyone's gonna be unjust. It's like this in a way. You drive what car do you drive? Brand. A Toyota, fine, I drive a Seat, okay?
can I
Now,
just
I wouldn't listen to... Go ahead, yeah.
Yeah, okay, so what you're saying, what you're talking about, is like we hand over our morality to a greater being.
Yeah.
What you're actually talking about and what you're saying is community. Because you're talking about this individualism that we have here, which is shit. Okay, it's like we all have our own gods, individual gods, consumerism, I've got to buy that brand, and it does your head in. So what you're saying is you want to have like something bigger, you want to have something deeper than that. And what that thing that you're talking about is community, because you guys, you have a beautiful community.
No, what he meant
It's
by
more
your
than
own
that.
God. It's like you're making yourself
It's more than
as a
that.
God.
Because
By
I don't...
deciding what is
created
right and
that
wrong.
God. You created that God because you want that higher being, you want a higher purpose.
That's
But that
that's
doesn't
where
mean
you
he
may
exists.
be misinformed.
Yeah, but
because
that
we
doesn't
haven't
mean he
created that
exists.
God. No, we can't.
I think
We
you
can't.
believe in him
it-
because you want to.
It depends on where you gain
Yeah,
evidence. Where's your
and
evidence for
it's
this?
Good for
gorgeous.
society.
Pardon?
It's gorgeous
That's the
what
reason
you're
to do it.
saying.
Okay, if I were to ask you, where did the universe come from?
But you didn't say that it's true.
If I were to ask you, where did the universe
good
come from?
question.
Because you said
But
we
that's
created
not
our own
because
God.
because that wasn't the
So
discussion.
this, we know that
Discussion
the
was about
universe
where morality
exists.
comes from.
Yeah, yeah.
If you're
And if I were to
discussion-
ask you where did it
discussion
come
was
from,
it's different
what would you say?
together.
I would say.
That-
I'm
that-
not
that- I
entirely
wasn't
sure.
answering that question.
Big
Whether it's
Bang
good or not
Theory,
is
it's
not
got a lot of
related.
evidence, but I'm not sure.
Big Bang
But what does
doesn't tell us where it came from. It tells us the effect, but not the cause.
Society or not.
Yeah,
It's
but
not-
I'm asking about the cause.
I don't know.
Yeah. So, because you said we made our own God, is it possible that there is a higher
If it
being
was false,
who
it is no way
brought
that
all
false
this
is
into
not a
existence?
good result.
But where is the evidence to that? That's
There's
what
no way,
I'm
for example.
Okay,
saying.
so when you say
are you
evidence, we know that the universe exists.
What do you do? with
We know that the universe couldn't have come from nothing.
Okay, what cuisine
But
do you
we
cook?
know that things do come
Italian
from
cuisine.
other
Okay,
chemicals.
if you were to start
Exactly,
using
which is not nothing.
French recipes,
Okay, so because before the
Italian
universe,
cuisine, in
as
Italian
far as
restaurant,
science is concerned, there was nothing.
although you're saying,
Right.
You
look,
see what I mean?
I'm
So
following the French,
it
their
cannot
good
come
cuisine,
from nothing at all.
right, they've
Because if
harmed
I,
everything. Is it going to work in your restaurant?
I haven't reached that conclusion in this discussion yet. So let's not jump the gun. Let's take it one step at a time. So if it it cannot come from nothing, then the next question I would ask you is that, has it created itself?
So whereas
No,
I'm going to bring back to what
I don't know. I don't know.
This world,
That's impossible.
This world as a
It's
whole,
like
we say
somebody
it's
saying
designed
that,
by a being
you
who
know,
knows
a
all the
mother
rules of the
gave
world.
birth to
Just like
herself.
your kitchen knows
Yeah,
Italian,
yeah,
Which is illogical, isn't
Our
it?
world
Yeah.
is
So
designed by a being
it has to
that knows
be,
all the
if it's
rules
not
that work
nothing,
in this
if it is
world.
not itself,
Your mum drives
then there must be
a
something
Toyota,
outside the
I drive a
universe
Seat.
which
If I
caused
follow the
it.
instructions
Yeah.
of a
You can
Toyota,
call it
my Seat,
intelligent
my
design,
Seat
or you
will
can
break
call
down.
it supernatural being.
You're using the wrong
Yes,
rules.
I call it God, I call it
Now, that's
Allah.
just where we
Yeah,
get
that's
the rules from.
a term to
Okay? But in terms of
understand
whether
that
it's true or not, that's the big
something
question.
caused all of
Now,
this
we can
existence
go
that we have
stages.
today.
One is,
And that's the
is
only
there a
plausible
God
explanation.
or not?
Because
That's
anything other than that,
question number one.
I think
Because
you will say,
once
I
we
don't know.
understand whether there's
Which is
God or
which is not bad,
begs the
but it's not
question of
really an
what
answer
does God
because it's
want?
more like saying,
Because God does not
I don't have an
create
answer.
and
You
say,
see what I mean?
Yeah, yeah,
you
no,
like.
I
Yeah.
see what you mean. So you call it Allah,
Yeah.
okay? However,
God
your Allah
believed-
comes to
So have you
Quran.
understood what he's just said? He
Yeah,
said
yeah,
to
yeah.
you using
Yeah,
all the
yeah.
very
So if-
old.
Pause it.
Yeah, yeah. So if God can create the universe, then He can communicate to us.
Right.
And
So
this
the
is
thing
this is the message from Him
how
called
do
the
you
Quran.
know- How do you know that
Yeah,
this is him?
that's a very good question.
That's what I mean.
No, no,
How do
that's
you know? How do you know the Bible is correct?
No
How do you
problem.
know
I wouldn't be
that
following otherwise.
Confucius
I have
is
read the
correct?
Bible and I've read the Quran.
That is the correct.
Yeah.
So the only way you can come to a conclusion is if you read them and you contrast them and you understand and analyze them, because you see, we have been given this faculty of reasoning. Unlike the animals, unlike any other beings here, you have been given this faculty of reasoning, which can then lead you to a conclusion and decision. Yeah.
Yes, you've read that.
I have, yeah.
Have you read about Zeus?
I have read about Zeus, yeah.
Okay, so what makes you believe in that, not Zeus?
Okay, so
You
Zeus,
read Zeus as widely as
how many people actually worship Zeus today?
He can
No,
do
that's what
anything.
I'm saying.
You know why they
There are,
don't?
like, thousands of gods. Why do you believe in that?
I totally agree. You know, the Hindus still believe in thousands of gods.
Good, yes.
Yeah, and I've read their scriptures as well.
Exactly.
I've read some of these scriptures
So
which you,
what were you born into, if I might ask?
So
I was born a
where's
Muslim.
your evidence that deceived
That's
you though?
what
So
I
do
mean.
you.
What
A
I'm
Hindu or a
saying-
Christian?
yeah, exactly. It works both ways. You're right.
But you were indoctrinated to other belief systems.
But you see, the difference between you and me is that I actually read those scriptures to come to a conclusion, and all I'm saying is you do the same. So if you haven't read the Quran, now is your opportunity. It's a free gift for you.
Oh, yeah, I read
Yeah?
it. Of course I read it.
Exactly. That's all. That we are not imposing it on you. Of course not. Come on. That wouldn't be. Islam wouldn't want that actually. In Islam, we are taught not to impose anything.
Because I
Yeah.
know there's like people say
Like
well,
Rahaf
Islam
al-Din,
is
they
so
believe in it,
like
yeah.
like you know it wants to
created,
enforce it.
man has been created
That's
for
like, that's
great
like-
Yeah.
I
You see,
get that.
look, the reason we come to Speaker's Corner and to propagate Islam, and we go to other places as well and propagate Islam, is because you see, look, we believe that there is this life is temporary and it's going to end one day. You know, regardless of whether you believe in God or not. Yeah, we all believe in that, right? It's the only certainty which everyone, regardless of their belief or disbelief, will agree with.
Is there robotic?
Okay.
And all I'm saying is that if there was a life after death, then we should be ready for
So
that.
when God says jump, they jump.
Yeah, but
When
I
the
don't
God says sleep, they
necessarily
sleep.
want a
When the
life.
God says pray, they
It's not in your.
pray.
It's not your decision.
Now,
You see, for you to come to this world wasn't your decision.
All I believe in is that you're a nice person. You're a nice person.
Yeah.
I'm brought up Christian. I left it. We're nice.
You know,
and that's what I
if I
believe
go,
in, is us.
if I go and give an exam, me being nice doesn't help me to pass, does it?
Actually, it might do.
No, it doesn't. I don't know which exams you have been to where a nice person always passes the exams.
A nice person always fails as well.
Who cares about exams? It's like what I'm saying is-
No, the reason I brought the analogy of exam is because as Muslims we believe that this life is a test. Because the consequences of this life will be seen in the next life, because we firmly believe that there is indeed a life after death. It's not, death is not the end.
But it's like, do you believe there's a life after death
They don't know
for
what freedom
animals,
is.
for chipmunks?
different.
Do you believe there
They
is?
don't, they don't,
No, we believe that they will be resurrected as well, and they'll be given their due. However, they will be dust at one point. But because we have the faculty of reasoning, unlike the animals, we can't compare ourselves to them.
Some animals have reason. Anyway, what I'm saying is, what I believe in is like this. I believe like you and I just believe in humanity. Like people are good, basically.
Yeah, but you know, like I said,
We're asking you whether we have a greater purpose. Like for instance, everything you have, madam, with all respect, has a purpose. But who's greater, you or the coat? Of course, we would say you or your gloves. So we're saying to you, this human being, all of it, do we have a greater purpose?
I would say that the community, your mum, it's like all my morals like from my mum and my dad, right? So that's the purpose.
yeah, but
That's the purpose.
you see, look, when you say good and bad, it always comes down to who decides that, you know? Because
that's
ultimately it is us. For example, if I were to ask you, is alcohol good for you or bad for you?
It's good for you in the moment. It was good for me too.
How is it good for you? In what way is it good for
Feel
you?
good, but then afterwards.
Yeah, but that's
it's bad.
emotional. I'm talking about physical. Physically, does it
It's
harm
bad
you?
for It's bad for you eventually.
Exactly. So physically, it's bad for you. It's bad for your liver. It's bad for your heart. It's bad for many things. Even your faculty of judgment is something which is clouded when you are drunk. See what I mean? Yeah. That's why they say don't drink and drive, because you don't have the ability to think right. So you see, it might give you some entertainment value at the expense of your health, though. Say again?
What's that got to do with Islam?
No, it's not to do because we're talking about good and bad.
Yeah.
So I'm saying that, like you said, it's good for me in the moment, but you're missing the bigger picture, where it does impact you, because there have been scientific studies and they have come to the conclusion that even small amounts of alcohol is bad for you. So
That makes you so sad.
no, it's not really, because you live in a culture where this is a norm.
I know.
Yeah, to go to the pub and get a drink with your friends is your way of entertainment here, and this I cannot take away from you because it's your culture.
And I agree with you.
But what I'm saying is that as human beings, because we have been given the faculty of reasoning, we need to understand the difference between what is good for us, both physically, mentally, and spiritually. Sorry, all three,
I agree with that.
and what is not. And that's what Islam is teaching. You know what? The reason Islam has actually abolished alcohol or prohibited alcohol is because it.
This is what I mean. Religion is like a codified. It's like these codified rules.
Absolutely.
What is good for you.
Absolutely.
But that doesn't mean
A
that
code of
Muhammad
conduct.
is the prophet of God. It doesn't mean that there is a greater supernatural being. It just means that we've worked these things out as good or bad.
So I'll tell you what. I'll give you a few prohibitions in Islam,
I'm
which you
happy
might
to
already
believe
know.
that you believe in it.
Yeah, I'll give you a few prohibitions. You tell me you agree or disagree. So in Islam, we already talked about alcohol being prohibited. The other things which are prohibited is gambling, is fornication, adultery, killing someone, unjustly. All these things, including usury, taking interest. So all these things are bad, and you will understand that they're bad when you analyze each one of them. Take interest-based society, where the poor become poorer and the rich become richer. The gap just keeps increasing. Yes, but Islam has prohibited taking interest.
That's what I mean. So I agree with all of that.
Yeah.
Okay. But that doesn't mean that I believe in a supernatural God. But I agree with all of that. Okay. So it's like these are the conclusions that we come to as human beings that care about each other. That it's not good for someone to be too rich, too poor. It's not good to drink alcohol because it messes you up eventually, and all of the stuff.
So all these prohibitions are for our own good?
All of that. Yeah, it's bad for you. But I believe that we can come to those conclusions without God.
Look, I'll tell you why not. I'll tell you why not. So you can come to that conclusion, but for you to act upon it would be difficult. For example, alcohol is bad, but yeah, okay, take care.
No, I understand.
Yeah.
It's cool.
So you see, alcohol, even though you realize it's bad for you because you still consume it, so why do you still consume it? Because you know that there is no consequence that you'll have to suffer for it.
No, I do because it's bad for my liver.
No, you don't when you're drinking.
No, I do when I'm drinking.
You do?
It's like,
Then-
it's this thing in your brain.
Yeah,
It's
so
like-
maybe it's in the back of your head. I totally understand. You see, when the reason we have speed cameras,
And it's the advertising.
yeah, that's the worst thing. I totally agree.
But that's what I mean.
Come
That's what I
Christmas,
agree with
don't
you.
drink and drive. The rest of the year,
It's like
it's
sells
okay.
this ideal that like drinking is good. So in all that way, I would agree with you, like the Islamic principles, but I just don't believe in a supernatural.
So the example of advertising is very good. You mentioned that because you see the government realizes this danger because they are the ones who conducted the studies and they printed it in journals which are peer reviewed when they decided that not even small amount of alcohol is bad for you.
That's so sad.
Yeah. So these same governments who actually conduct or I told you. I'm saying that the same government, it's quite funny and ironic actually, that the same government who actually, paid for this service, who actually gave the scientists the money and the revenue to go about conduct the service, they are the ones who then broadcast these advertisements about alcohol, about Guinness, about the different brands, because they get a lot of revenue from it. Now they know for a fact that it's bad for the citizens, but yet because for them the priority is to line the pockets.
You and I, and it's not about God. It's about community versus individualism. Because
it's about responsibility. And the responsibility will never come.
They're trying to say, oh, have a good time, enjoy yourself, get drunk,
exactly,
because they want to make money. Okay, so I can say no to that, and if I believed in God, maybe it would be easier for me to say no to that. But I can still logically say no to that without believing in God.
Why do you think it's easier if you believed in God? That's a very good point, actually.
Because if you have God, you have this blueprint for life.
Thank you.
You're like, I'm not going to do it. But that doesn't mean it's true, even though it's wonderful.
How do you know it's not true? You see, you made a conclusion without evidence.
No, I didn't make a conclusion. I didn't say it wasn't true. I said that it doesn't mean it's true.
Yeah, but what made you come to that decision is not true.
I didn't say
like I explained to you that we cannot explain this existence without a supernatural being.
No, okay, so this is my... So you believe in... You and I, we agree on it, right? So you and I, we agree on that stuff, that alcohol is bad for you and advertising, blah, blah, blah. But you're Muslim, I'm atheist. Yet we agree on it. So that
I think you're an agnostic.
Okay,
I wouldn't call you an atheist based on what you said. Because an agnostic keeps the option open. An atheist closes the door on God.
I'm just keeping my options open, just in case.
Yeah.
No, but what I'm saying is you and I, we're so different, right? So you believe in religion, I don't. Okay, but we still have the same morals, we still have the same opinions. So what I'm saying is that proves that morality doesn't come from God because it comes from us. Because what we have in common is humans.
Yeah. You see, when you said it cannot come, that means you have made a firm conclusion.
No,
if you said it could not come, then I would say, you see, there's a difference in the wording. I can tell from the wording it's different.
It doesn't necessarily.
Yeah. Now that you have qualified it, I'll give you the benefit of doubt, no problem. Okay, so what if it was true?
If it was true, I would embrace it. I mean, the whole
No.
masculinity of it, I might have a few problems, but I would come to terms with it, so that would be cool. I would embrace it if I believed.
How would you embrace it? Because you see, look, it might be too late by the time you say, I want to embrace it. Like I said, I'll tell you why. Because if you die upon this belief that there is no God, then you have already, in a way, condemned yourself.
Condemn myself to what?
To an eternal damnation.
No, but this is what I mean. So if I'm a good person and you're a good person, and I die before you, and God says to me, you didn't believe in me, so you go to hell or eternal damnation, that's not a very nice thing to do. So why would I believe in? Why would I want to?
It's because not believing in God is the biggest sin.
But see, I don't believe that not believing in God is a sin. I believe being mean.
Shall I tell you why it is the biggest sin?
Yeah.
Because you see, like the brother earlier explained to you, that when you start disbelieving in God, and then you take it upon yourself to decide what is good and bad, then it is as if you are making yourself a God.
So I'm not surrendering my will to somebody.
Exactly, yeah. You have now decided that because it is up to me to decide what is right and wrong, even though your life experience is limited to your environment, to your friends, to your colleagues, to your acquaintances, you have made your decision that I can actually make that confirmed decision that what I do is right. And that is where maybe the problem arises from, because once you have that mindset, then I don't think you will ever be willing to surrender your will to God.
I would surrender my will to something that I believed in, but I just don't believe in it.
Yeah, and that's the reason I wanted to explain to you about the existence that we have, the universe, you, me, all of this inside the universe. It has to come from someone, isn't it? From somewhere.
I feel like we've been vibing. So me, do you think I should live in eternal damnation?
No, I don't think you should. But if you decide, there's actually a hadith about the Prophet ﷺ. Prophet, peace be upon him, he's our messenger, the last messenger. He said that the only people who will not, who will not go to paradise is those people who refuse to go. And his companions.
I wouldn't refuse refuse to go?
No. Hear me out. The companions asked the same question. Say, who would refuse to go to paradise? Yeah. Or who would want to go to hellfire? And he says, those people who willingly do not surrender their will to God. And this is the reason, because if you have got the information about God and yet you...
My son's leaving.
No, he's here.
Where's he going? Sorry, he's embarrassed of me.
He's okay. So he's old enough to handle himself, I'm sure. He won't go without you. Okay? He's just taking a break maybe. What I'm saying is that if you decide on your own volition to decide to reject the existence of God, and like I said, I gave you a Quran.
Babe,
now,
I have to go.
Yeah, sure.
Actually, what do you know?
No problem. But it's really nice speaking to you. What's your name?
Joe.
Joe, very nice speaking to you. Maybe you can come again and we can discuss some more. Okay, take care. All right. May Allah give hidayah to this lady, Joe, and her son. Please make dua for them. They seem like genuine people, mashallah. Jazakallah khairan. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.